Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley and Wall Street. I'm John Furrier, co-host here with Dave Vellante, my co-host. Hello, I'm John Furrier with theCUBE, here at theCUBE's NYSE Wired studio of the New York Stock Exchange. Of course, we have our Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley and Wall Street. This is our mixture of experts series. We talk to leaders who are making it happen with AI affecting the technology change and acceleration, but also the impact to our lives. Arsen Tomsky's here. He's the founder and CEO of inDrive. Thanks for coming on theCUBE. It's a great timing for us to have a chat.
Hi, thank you. Super to be here.
Love the Cal shirt. Just shout out to Berkeley folks out there watching, get a little following there. Arsen, I want to talk to you about the momentum of your company and the approach you're taking on the technology side, but also you have a distinct view on the impact of autonomous, and as physical AI comes on board, we're seeing massive change. So give an update on the momentum of the company and then some of the things you're doing inside the cars, inside the technology, and some of the things you're seeing that's going to have real impact.
We now work in more than 1,000 cities in 48 countries. And this story began in 2012 in the officially coldest city in the world, my hometown, Yakutsk. And in the very cold day, on the very cold day, local taxi companies, they decided to form cartel agreement, and same day they doubled fares. And it immediately caused very fierce response from people, because if you have to go through this the freezing cold with your kid to school and it's minus the 60 degrees, it's of course cause sharp sense of that injustice. So 20 years old students who owned cars, they created a special page on social media, and people could join and start to negotiate. They would say, I'd like to go from point A to point B, and I'd like to pay to such fare. And those students, they began to negotiate, and people began to go even cheaper than it was before that cartel. And in short time, 50,000 people started to use it, and I saw it was pure social phenomenon. And I decided to launch startup using the same peer-to-peer negotiation. And in last 13 years, we built this global platform. And you can see, since day one, we are a team who fights the injustice. And this is a fuel for us. We systematically look for places where large companies form stable monopolies, duopolies, and if we see it, we launch. And where we just need to make short and intense advertising, and then those cities began to grow without any additional investments. This is how we built this large story without access to external support. We began to raise first significant investment just in 2020.
Well,
short story.
It's been a great success story. Autonomous industry has been really booming. We're seeing the advancements. It used to be only the big cities would have it, slower, figuring it out. Now you're starting to see a global expansion. You mentioned some of the statistics that you guys are experiencing. What's the difference between the global and these areas that, I won't call them the rich cities, but the ones that people tend to target are, we see San Francisco, we're seeing the big cities, LA, other places. What's different about the global opportunity and the social side of it, the phenomenon behind it, the economics?
Look, we work in such cities like Lima, Lahore, Jakarta, and we see that in those people value each cent. So it's very important to give them really affordable service. Also, we work in not safe cities, especially in Latam, and it's important to keep the system safe. And for people really value if they can set their terms of rights. No. They sometimes don't like if the system in peak time charge 2 to 3 times, and they like to negotiate. So this is, I think, one of the main reasons why we achieve such large level of success.
I'm very impressed with the affordability angle of this, and you guys put out a manifesto, affordable autonomous mobility for the next billion users. Very bold statement, but I want to ask you about the innovation, not just on the tech side, but on the business model side. You guys have a unique view of how you see this evolving. And so there's innovation on the business side. How are you looking at that and how are you framing that? Because, some people are saying, well, if autonomous cars are going to replace humans, what about all those gig workers, those people doing it today? They will be out of work. And then you say, well, they can do other things. There's an opportunity here. Share your vision on this next billion users and the people behind it, and how that will work from an economy standpoint, and how do you view this shift?
Now we see there are two main theses here. First is that this AV technology long time will be only for cities with high checks, with developed road the infrastructure. And second, all this AV tech will in the future fully replace the drivers. And we don't agree with both of them. First, we think we have a realistic chance to create special AV car for these cities in developing countries. And it should be specially designed car adapted for those cities and low cost. And the second, I believe there is path to keep all these people with work. And this is not a charity. I think this could be very effective way, decentralized macro fleet model. And we believe we should teach drivers to become the owners of cars. They can switch their job from driving to charging, cleaning, and repairing those cars.
Is an opportunity. It's also an entrepreneurial opportunity for the participants. They know the local, they have the networks, they have the skills. How do you see that playing out? Can you share some of the early thoughts on how you see that working? Because AI is an opportunity, not just on the tech, but on people.
I want to say more. This is one of the largest entrepreneurial opportunities what I have seen in more than 30 years. And we can effectively make the entire system of this retailing business more convenient for people, more affordable and safe. And it could take not like 25 years. It could take less, 5, 10, probably 15 years for some countries. And now the main problem for maybe this long tail of railroad cases, the edge the cases, and current AV players like the Waymo, they have to send a lot of cars to the street and to ride the millions of miles to cover all this long tail.
I liked how you guys, from a marketing standpoint, got the traction, but you're also building in the tech. You've got the custom cars, you got the business model innovation. What structural advantages do you see you guys bringing to the table? Because you're going into emerging markets, you're bringing economic lifeblood into these areas that might be last on the list, as you say, in the long tail. What are the structural advantages that you're looking at, and what are you investing in that to make that work? What are some of the things that make this scale?
First, now, as we see, the main the competition is going on the tech side, not on the economical side. And we should change it. Even in such cities as San Francisco, companies, they have to subsidize rides. They pay for each mile a few additional dollars, and this causes deep financial losses. So it won't work absolutely in the cities of developing the countries with much lower checks. So I believe we should use the same what we still have in the DNA of the company. We focus on the financial efficiency. For example, when we launch in new cities, and then we use very small the amount of the bonuses, much less than peers. And this allows us to have the credible high gross margin despite the low take rate, the commission. And we are going to use the same lean approach and use also these new opportunities, what we getting from the AI.
Using the investment strategy and the profit to drive acceleration. That's a long game play. Love that. What about operational data and regulatory concerns? How do you look at those? You must be welcome in with open arms, or are you? What's it like on the regulation, partnership side, and also the operational data? Can you leverage the data? Or is there a digital twin, or what kind of things are going on? Because I can imagine that you're going to be able to replicate a lot of value, but it's also unique by city. So regulatory, partnerships, and operations. How do you see those variables?
Of course, we have more than 3 million active drivers, and we can use this resource to collect the tremendous amount of additional data, including the video. And also, we started to do first tests with the own the map the data, because we see in many cities of developing countries, Google the maps has not good quality and couldn't be used by AV companies, and we have to recreate these maps, and we can do it in a relatively short time, and we can use not just the regular maps, also HD maps, when we know exact the position, for example, each the traffic light. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then we can share this with these AV companies, and this is a very valuable resource. Also, we in this the 13 years, we built very strong relationship with local authorities, because they support the super mission of the company. It sounds like that challenging injustice through fair choices. And we clearly position ourselves that we really care about people. We don't dictate fares. We cherish low take rate the commission, and we also run 6 global non-profit initiatives with same goal to reduce injustice. If we deliver this idea that we are going to keep millions of people with their jobs, not to replace them, it will to also support very strong support, and we can share this resource too with external partners.
Well, we got the closing bell coming up. So I want last question for you as we open up the market here today at the New York Stock Exchange. Share a story or an anecdote around someone who's either emailed you or you've seen evidence of someone's lives being changed. Give an example, share a story of some of the impact that you're having. You got the shared mission with the governments, fair choice, economic stability. It really is a unique value proposition. To share a story that illustrates that.
Of course. Let me share this story from the first year when we started. On one day in the nighttime, one girl in my the hometown, she had this sickness, the asthma, and she realized that she forgot her spray at her the work, and she didn't have time, and she tried to call 911. They told her she had to wait like 14 minutes, and she didn't have that time. And then she tried to order spray through regular taxis. They told her we couldn't help you because we don't have such service. And then she posted this request and on our feed, please save my life. And immediately, in just a couple of minutes, someone took this, and in next 15 minutes, she got a spray, and someone saved her life. And this is a very good case, shows that we have really human-based platform. Thank you.
Arsen, really congratulations. I love what you're doing. I love the tech. Don't get me wrong, but I love what you're doing on the business model innovation. You're really using the economic structural advantage to accelerate and also create value and impact people's lives, saving lives in this case, and bringing AI and autonomous vehicles to areas all around the world. So congratulations, and it's a pleasure to know you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm John
Have a good day.
Furrier with theCUBE. We are here at the NYSE Wired program and open network, of course. Please join in and check us out at the nysc.com and of course theCUBE.net. Thanks for watching.